Those are the girls who tend to cheat on you also because they see themselves in a lower light. You're a man who treats them with honesty and respect. Then another guy comes along and treats them the way they believe they should be treated. That's when dudes get cheated on. And that's like different red flags. And I think what's happened is this Instagram generation has created new red flags that didn't exist before. Can you go over like some of the things that you see that you particularly find as red flags in men and women?
Okay. The thing is, even when I was on the Bradley show, I feel like I was really bad when it came to saying red flags about women. And I was like, I can't think of any red flags for women because they're just so perfect. So I know that that's my red flag. So I can't give you red flags for women. I do have red flags about men.
Let's do it. And then maybe I'll have some for women. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Red flags about guys. Obviously, if he's telling you he's not looking for anything.
Yes.
If he's adding Instagram models and porn stars and all that, like nonstop.
Yeah.
And you guys have been dating for a minute now, and he's still just adding all these girls, or he's commenting on their pictures and he's saying like, check your DM.
Yeah. Check your DM. He's in the comments. He's like, check your DMs. I have an opportunity for you. Yeah. That kind of, yeah.
Yeah. It couldn't be more obvious. Or if he only hits you up at nighttime.
Okay.
If you don't hear, he takes 2 days to respond back to you. Like, oh my God, I'm so busy. And I wouldn't say red flags as much as these people are not into you.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to admit
Again,
that.
it's perspective. If you're pursuing a relationship with this person, then these are red flags. It doesn't mean they're bad. It's just, these are things you should notice and avoid.
Likes the silliest things.
Yeah.
Pay attention to that, because eventually those lies snowball into other things. Like first it starts really simple, and whether it's your friends or someone you're dating, let's say you're just in a group setting and your friend is telling a story and you know that story never happened to that person, and suddenly you realize, you're like, wait, why did you just pretend it became you? Or suddenly they're telling another story and they change something in it and you're like, huh? So little things like that will tell you kind of about that person's character.
Yeah, lying when the truth will do.
Yeah. And another red flag, if you talk poorly about your parents, to me, in my opinion, that's a red flag. If you're just not even trying to resolve your relationship with your parents, it's one thing if you say, I don't speak to them anymore, this and this happened and it's really terrible, I'm talking. But if you're like, my mom's a piece of shit. Like if you're dating a guy who talks really badly about his mom, that's going to translate into what you're dating. Vice versa. If you're dating a woman that's saying all men are trash, my dad's a piece of shit, all men are trash, definitely you're getting if you're looking for a project, then, stay with her, but definitely she's not going to be kind to you and she's going to assume the worst with you all the time. Yeah. So it goes both ways.
Yeah. I think it's a function of maturity to go back. Like for instance, for me, I think about all the conflict that I had with my parents growing up and then coming out later and realizing, no, I have discipline because of my parents. Once I went away to college, and especially when I went away to the military, I came to the realization, wow, I had a really good upbringing. I also know when I have a relationship with somebody who has maybe not the upbringing that I do, and their way of communication is through exaggeration, hyperbole, and like attacking rather than asking questions, I have to have patience with that person and be like, okay, they didn't have the same upbringing that I did. And so I understand that. And so when I try to have, it's really crazy. When you try to have healthy communication with somebody who's not used to it and they're used to attacking, it becomes very difficult. When I have either it's a girl that I'm dating or a friend of mine, or even sometimes guy friends, and they just don't love themselves. And then when I go do something without them, they blame me. And I'm like, no, bro, it's in you. Like I can't bridge the gap to your happiness. I cannot, if you're 60% happy, I can't be the other 40%. You have to be at 100% before we go do it together, start a business together, or if it's a girl, start dating. You have to be at 100% before we can make this work. Otherwise, you're going to look to me to fill this lack that you have. And it's just like one of these things, well, I understand these boundaries because I had parents that, were set boundaries for me. And they weren't always super close. And my dad did spank the shit out of me. Like that was another thing, like, it was physical punishment. But like, I think if you grew up, I would imagine growing up in, with family members from Eastern Europe, that was something that was pretty common. Growing up in Texas. Huh?
Yeah. I've been definitely hit.
Yeah. And growing up in Texas, it was like the idea of not spanking your child was like anathema. Of course, I grew up Baptist. Of course we spank our children. So it's just one of these situations where when you deal with people who didn't deal with that, it's very interesting to watch how they communicate with you. Also being a U.S. military officer, when there's a problem to be solved, I solve the problem. Your feelings will come later. And a lot of times my friends find that to be insulting, but I also am more successful than most of them. And that's the reason why. So it's just one of these things where I try to be as open as I can with people and I try to be as honest as I can with people. And sometimes they don't communicate the same way that I do.
You said that towards the end right now, you made a comment that your way is you have to fix the problem first before you do anything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when there's a serious issue, that's the first thing that has to happen. And I even like sometimes when I'm talking to my girlfriend, and she'll tell me something. I'm like, hey, I need to know something real quick. Do you want me to listen to you? Because I will. Or do you want me to fix this problem? Because you have to tell me the difference. Because if you don't tell me, I'm going to fix this problem. And this problem that you're spending all this time talking to me about, I can fix it in 30 seconds. And then you won't have the problem anymore. But you're also not going to be able to talk to me about it. So you need to tell me what you want. Do you want me to listen to you, or do you want me to fix this?
Okay, so in regards to that, so I'm the same way. That is known more in psychology, a masculine trait that I also happen to possess it as well. That is exactly how I view issues as well. If someone tells me a problem, I will go ahead and fix it right away. And I got to learn that it's not. So that is just a different communication. So a lot of people think there's right or wrong versus being like, okay, we communicate differently. Like, for example, a long time ago, my sister was telling me a story about some girl that was really mean to her. And I didn't like it. So as she was telling me that, I DM'd the girl and I said, why are you bullying my sister? That's not cool. And I said, hey, Karen, don't worry, I fixed it. And she was like, what? You joking? Why would you message her? Are you crazy? And I'm like, wait, why would you call me to tell me about this issue then? And she goes, I just wanted to vent. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. So now I do what you do with your girlfriend, where if someone calls me about something or tells me something, I have to ask them, what are you looking for? Are you looking for advice? Are you looking to listen? Or are you looking for me to fix it?
Yeah.
Because my natural reaction is to do that. So that in that regard, we're just different humans, and it's about communicating. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to ask you really quick. You mentioned that you never seen your parents fight, right?
No, I'd snuck in. I'd heard a couple of times, like, through the door or whatever. But like in front of me, they tried to avoid it.
Well, I guess technically you've heard, but do you feel that may have then kind of molded you into how you date? Like, do you think growing up when you were in your 20s or 30s, if you had quote unquote conflict with a partner, that you felt that it's not working?
This is a great question. I would say the difference, I'm 45 now, the difference between after the age of 38 and like say when I got out of college at 22 or 23, I was completely different. When I was 23 to probably the time I was 35, I was only interested in dating around, not being in a relationship. I wanted to date the most attractive women I could. When women had red flags, I just thought this was just some shit you had to deal with. If a girl's like running around the club, fucking drunk, flirting with everyone, I was like, oh, this is just shit you have to deal with. Like, oh, what are you talking about? I had no fucking boundaries. And the fact that I would date really attractive women, to me, it was like, well, that's a flex because they're really hot. And then, but I didn't like looking back, I realized I had no boundaries. And just because I had slept with a bunch of women, that was the only thing that mattered to me. And I'm fully aware that that's what I was doing back then. Now I know, we were talking about before, male red flags and female red flags. For me, I see very clear boundaries now. For instance, when a woman is trying to tell me how I feel instead of asking me how I feel, that is a fucking massive red flag for me. I am not interested in a relationship where the opening volley is always an attack on me and then I have to respond. I would rather have questions to ask me what I'm going through. Also, another thing, I am no problem whatsoever handing my unlocked phone to my girlfriend and she can go through every single thing on my phone. I have a huge problem with her standing over shoulder and not that my girlfriend does this, but like a girl who like goes over my shoulder and sees something and then misinterpret. There's a book about this literally called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, where they talk about how people misinterpret things that they see quickly. You see a conversation between me and my sister or my female cousin, and we're talking about something. You take this out of context. Now you impose the lens of me cheating on you, whereas just take my phone and go through the entire conversation, right? Well, my girlfriend, because we are polygynous, I never lied to her about anything. Like, I'm very fully honest. I don't have to be. I'm very honest with her. She's very attracted to women. So I don't have an issue with this whatsoever. And so because of that, because I'm fully honest, she can absolutely go through my phone. I have no issue with it whatsoever. And a lot of dudes don't do this. And a lot of women are also like, I would never want to be in that situation, while at the same time getting cheated on a regular basis, which is never going to happen to my girlfriend. And so that's one of the things that I saw. But the biggest red flag for me was women telling me how I feel instead of asking me how I feel. That was the big one that I just have a big problem with, because I try not to do that to other people. Women who would like attack, like that's their form of communication because that's what they learned from their parents. And the other one is like, that's a really big red flag for me, is like when I have to complete the volume of self-love. Whenever I see a girl like that, who's like, she loves herself 60%, especially the really, really, really pretty ones, Violetta, who like they're very clearly prettier than all their friends, but are just constantly have some sort of body dysmorphia or something to that effect, and they're always like putting themselves down internally. The problem is like, whereas I want to help, no amount of my help is ever going to bridge this gap. I'm never going to get to them to 100%, no matter what I do. And the other problem, this is a really big issue, is when you're dealing with that level of insecurity and you're trying to fight to feed that insecurity, those are the girls who tend to cheat on you also, because they see themselves in a lower light. You're a man who treats them with honesty and respect. Then another guy comes along and treats them the way they believe they should be treated. That's when dudes get cheated on. And that's another reason why it's a huge turnoff for me, and it's a huge red flag for me when a girl is consistently dating one bartender after one male stripper after one VIP host who sleeps with a bunch of girls and then complains about them over and over again. I think it's a function of perspective, right? If you see someone, if you're talking to a guy and he's very honest with you and he's like, hey, listen, I'm not looking for a relationship at all, and you find yourself like outrageously attracted to him. I've seen women do this before, and they're like, I'm going to make him my boyfriend, right? I think in that case, they stop seeing some of these things that are red flags. So when you said before, he's just not into you, healthy people would look at that and be like, he's not that into you, therefore I should not be pursuing this anymore. What happens though is when people are like, no, I'm obsessed, I'm determined, this is going to be my dude, they're not seeing these. Maybe red flags is a different term for it, but it's like, this is clearly someone who's disqualified from being in a relationship with you, and you're still trying to pursue this, and it becomes exceptionally problematic.
Yeah, I mean, if someone tells you they're not looking for anything, woman or man, believe them and listen to them. You're not going to change their mind. I will say sometimes I think it just depends on the person. There is sometimes a little door opening, but usually 9 out of 10 times it's not. So I don't have advice from women or men if they're pursuing someone that literally clearly told them they're not looking for anything with them. Like, then that's on you.
Yeah.
Like, even with my boyfriend, eventually if I stay with him after knowing he was cheating on me and he cheated on me again, then you know what? That's on me. Because at this point I already knew. So who am I going to blame except myself?
And I have a friend of mine all my life, dude. She married a fucking male stripper, moved to Australia with the guy. And when her baby is being born, he's literally out cheating with someone else. And we're sitting here listening to the story, and she's crying. We were at a bar one time, and she's crying. She's like, my baby was being born, and he was out there cheating on me. And I was like, I couldn't believe this. And we're all like looking at each other and like, you left with the lead dancer from Thunder from Down Under. And we all knew he was going to cheat on you. And it was such a turnoff to me. Like, I would never date this girl because she doesn't have the ability to set boundaries. Whereas the same girl, I know 100 dudes who would have worshiped the ground that she walked on, and she chose to not give any of those dudes a chance. You know what I'm saying? And so that, to me, that's a big red flag. So those are the red flags that I see for women. Pretty much when they can't accept this happiness and love. And also, I mean, the other things that you said before, like they don't message back in a couple of days and they're gaslighting you and that kind of shit.
And also, I used to believe that you had to be 100% healed and worked on yourself before you can date. And then until one day I realized that you will never be 100% healed. There's always going to be something to come up. And I realized you can definitely heal yourself as you start dating as well, because you get to learn what you like, what you don't like. You get to learn more about yourself. Like, even my current partner, I'm learning a lot about myself, what things that trigger me, how I react. Luckily, I'm grown up enough now to understand that it has more to do with me than him. So that's how I'm able to learn about myself and my triggers, quote unquote.
Yeah, but you also have a grasp and an understanding that you need to work on healing yourself, right? And you have a grasp on, like, you at least are aware. Whereas I'm talking about someone who, like, literally their whole mood and sense of being, they blame on other people instead of the concept of self-love is not a real thing to them. Their happiness or sadness is only a function of Instagram likes and how many times their boyfriend tells them they're pretty. And it's like one of these things where it's like, if I'm trying to build an 8-figure business, I can't do that all the time. Sometimes I'm with clients and you're still incredibly important to me. Here's some flowers. I'm trying, but and again, it's not an issue that I'm having now, but I've just seen this happen before, where it frequently happens where, like, you want to bridge that gap for them, but the more you do, the more you're enabling them to not go out and try to do it for themselves. And that's just an issue that I've seen. Actually, you're more aware than probably most any girl I've seen when it comes to this one issue. You are taking responsibility for your own happiness, which is very attractive. That is an attractive trait in women when they take responsibility for their own attractiveness, rather than, one of these situations where it's like, I am responsibility for my happiness and yours at the same time.
Well, I think it's attractive when both people take more responsibility for themselves instead of blaming other people. But I will say, even your friend who now married that stripper and you're like, it's so unattractive, blah, blah. Like when you were saying all that, I actually felt genuine. I felt sorry for her.
I don't. Please understand. I go to her baby shower. I still go to her birthday parties. I still care about her as a human being, and I definitely feel sorry for her. But like, how did you not see that was going to happen? Like that was the part that was crazy to me. It's like.
Because you always, a lot of us are romantics. A lot of us don't know how to heal ourselves. A lot of us don't take the time to go to, to learn more about life. A lot of times you have to go through very hard trauma in your life and to really want to change yourself as a person in order to grow. And many people don't want to do that because, like I said before, it's easier to just stay stagnant and to blame the world.
Yeah.
So actually I feel sorry for your friend. Of course she thought she'll be different. And, and I feel sorry for her. Now she has a child with a man that, had a lot of red flags about him.
Yeah. Yeah. It is one of the issues. My whole issue though, is when I see someone like that and when a guy gets into a relationship with her later, he's just more likely to cheat or she's just more likely to cheat because the way she viewed herself or the way she accepts communication or love in the relationship was unhealthy. So when she finds a guy who just like worships the ground she walks on later on in life, she's just less likely to respect him. And that's why I see that as a red flag.